Okay, here we are. January 23, it's Thursday. And I'm happy to say we had our cleaning ladies come in yesterday. They come every 2 weeks, two of them. And they work like crazy. Yeah. They take about an hour and 15 minutes. There's two of them. I pay them $120. So that's $240 a month. Round numbers, $250. But I feel so much better after they do their cleanup. They take out all the, I package up all the trash and put it down in front. Now I take the trash out to the trash chute, which is at the end of each hallway, each corridor. You got the north side trash chute and the south side trash chute. And you just walk down to a room at the end of the corridor. And then you open up the chute and you put your stuff in the chute and drop it, and whoosh, it goes down 8 stories, crashes at the bottom of the 8th floor journey. Yep, just drop it right down there. But I do, an extra special trash assemblage, so when the cleaning people come, they take it all. They take everything they collect, plus everything I've collected, and they take it down to the trash chute. It's a big mountain of stuff. Yeah. But they do a good job. They dust everything. They, wipe off the top of all the picture frames. They disassemble all the cushions on our couches and chairs, and vacuum. Yeah. Aggressive vacuuming. Pick up all the cat hair. Yeah. Because the cats lounge around on the furniture, so they leave behind some hair follicles. Bunches of them. Yeah. So I feel good when that's all done, yeah. Shrink that, there you go. There's a look at my front page, home page, I guess you call it, on an iPhone. Everything is self-explanatory with the little annotations below. Just for the heck of it. Let's do a speed test. Let's see how we're doing. Connecting. Ooh. 65 milliseconds with the round trip on a ping. It sends a ping out to a host site. 120 down and 47 megabits per second up. I need 8 megabits per second to handle That's what the requirements are in order to, one more time. Because this is a simulcast. We're broadcasting live this programming to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter X Live. I don't understand why that is, but it says W Live up there. It's X, aka Twitter. So this broadcast is a live broadcast, and you can look it up when it's over. You can join it while it's in progress. You can hop on, before I start and wait for it to start. A little late today for an unknown reason. Just, I don't know. It assembles, I can get it working right away. It just took me a little longer today than it should have. I get into advanced reading, and I get so involved that I forget what time it is. And all of a sudden I look up and I said, "Oh God, it's 9:15. God, I'm 15 minutes late, and I don't have this thing set yet." I got to start the starting panel. You have to have a title for it, a unique title. So I picked that off. The first 20% of the ticker tape you see on the top of the screen. So we're up here in my little studio that I've arranged. You can get the gist of what's going on here. There's a clock right here. See that right here? That tells you how long we've been connected. And then this is an iPad, which the photo library from the phone or this iPad, goes into this iPad. It's an Apple thing. So, and it's by choice, and I choose to have all my Apple devices updated with photo libraries. They sync up, which takes no time at all. So this comes off my calendar, off my phone, actually. Anyway, so that's how I title every one of these. Well, Trump's in his third day, day 3, and he is, they are ready to work. Unfortunately, this political system is, they should change the procedures in the confirmation process. And if the Democratic senators, some if clause, like, I'm just making this up from the seat of my pants, but let's say the Democrats, just try to delay, act like they're delaying. And the Republicans can vote to move on without them. Just if they delay a particular nominee, they got 24 hours notice to stop the delay, or we have the right to vote without them. And then the Senate Republicans can confirm the candidates without the Democrats. Because, they're taking, Obama had 8 confirmations of his, pick for these important agencies. He had 8 of them approved in one day, the first day. Now 8 a day, in a week you're done with this. Then you can get on with the important business, But Schumer is just putting up incredible roadblocks, procedural stuff to slow everything down. Just to be aggravating, So federal employees are told to name colleagues who work in DEI roles, because the Trump administration wants to round them up and fire them, because DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, those are all, buzzwords, which means I'm not picking on the blacks, but you got whites and you got blacks, you got yellows. So let's just take the yellows. If you could so if a yellow person is in a particular role and he is actually not better than the other 2 categories, the people that set up that kind of division where you put one race up against another, so the whole department of DEI is being ripped apart because it's, do you want a person that gets hired, by the FAA to be an air traffic controller, and instead of taking the best candidate based on merit, it's like the 5th best candidate, but oh my God, it satisfies, the diversity needs of the DEI, the DI role. Yeah. And you would say no. How about captains of airplanes? You want the 10th best candidate? Or do you want the top 3 candidates based on merit? And job performance. The pilot's pretty important. A lot of these roles are very important, in the U.S. government. All the roles are very important, or else they're not going to be employed anymore. And they're going to shrink down the workforce in the Washington, D.C., and in some of the local offices. The people that were hired there in satisfaction of the DEI requirements. Yeah, that's what the E is. Diversity with races. And I don't care which race is in there, personally. They just need to be the best one. So whenever you hire somebody, it's the best person. Not the person that's, that solves some diversity requirement. And equity is, certain races are entitled to have an increased number of employees because, these races had a more difficult time 150 years ago on getting a job. So we're going to make up for it by hiring you now, even though you're not the best candidate. That's why nothing gets done in Washington, so to speak. But the Democrats, got in charge under Biden, or whoever was behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz, that was actually running things. So they had 4 years of diversity, equality, and inclusion. And you've had some near misses as far as crashing because of DEI. Certain people get hired into the control tower, workers. No, you don't want diversity and equity to be topmost on whether you fill a vacancy, in the New York City control tower, sitting up there with 20 other people. So when you're going through the training, if you train the best, and your resume is best, and the hiring manager would rather have X than Y because X is more competent than Y, and that's who you hire. The U.S. government is a big deal. So we've got new people heading up the United States Secret Service, and the two top people in the Secret Service have just gotten pulled out, and we got new Secret Service. So they pulled somebody from the lower ranks who was really good and was one of the ones that was blocking Trump during the gunfire process. So he'll get in there. He's in the Secret Service, and now he's in charge of it. So he knows from the inside out. When you pull a guy from the ranks, I think they had like 7,000 or 8,000 employees. The United States Secret Service is a little bigger than you would think, because they protect a lot of people. They protect the people that are in leadership roles in the House, like the House Majority Leader, and go down 2 or 3 people. So, you got the top 5 people in the House of Representatives. They get they get Secret Service protection. And it's, 1, 2, 3 people, depending on, excuse me, how often they're giving speeches outside and all this business. You have you've got all the former presidents and their families. They require Secret Service detail. Now, they don't get as much Secret Service detail as the people that are, like the current president, as opposed to former presidents. So former presidents, maybe they get 1 or 2 Secret Service people details, and the current president gets a lot of Secret Service people assigned to him. He's got his winter residence down here in Palm Beach County, Florida. Mar-a-Lago, which is about 24 miles north of the building I'm in. It is a beautiful estate built by the C.W. Post family. And, it's a huge, elegant facility. It has, like 30 bedrooms and 45 toilets. But it's a big, it's huge. It sits on 20 acres, right on or 25 acres on the southern tip of the island of Palm Beach. The site, it's got to be worth, if you bulldoze everything, which would be a terrible shame, but let's just say you did. So someone bought, I think the whole site is about 40 acres. So if you bulldoze the whole site and you want to build luxury, Palm Beach quality homes on builder half-acre lots. So including streets, water, sewer, and so forth. A builder half-acre is like a third of an acre. So on a third of an acre, you build, an 8,000 or 10,000 square foot, luxury home. How many of those could you get on there? Well, if you got 40 acres and you're putting people on builder half acres, in theory, you could put 80 houses on there. Well, let's just divide that by 2. So it's 40 houses. So that's 40 lots. And the lots would be worth probably $5 million each. So that's this is really fast seat of the pants map. So you could sell 20 lots worth $5 million apiece. That's $100 million just for the dirt. You on each end of the site, you're either water frontage to the Atlantic Ocean or your water frontage on the Intercoastal Waterway, on a pretty wide, waterway. That's probably 200 or 300 feet wide at that point. So you get $100 million worth of land, and if you assume that the land represents, 25% of the value of the property when it's got a house on it, which is probably 10 or 12,000 square feet. 8, 10, 12, let's just say 8,000 square feet. So 8,000 square feet at $400 a square foot. That should be the going rate. This is small numbers. So if you're going to put let's just say an 8,000 square foot house on there at $400 a square foot, do the math. Where's my calculator? There it is. You can watch me do the math. Clear. We said 40 lots. There was 80 lots available. We just did 40 because we're just being conservative. 40 lots on 20 acres times $400 a square foot equals dummy times 40. Sorry, that can't be right. So if it costs $400 a square foot times an 8,000 square foot home that goes on a builder's half acre equals, so you're putting a $3.2 million house on the lot. The lot's worth $4 or $5 million. Let's just say $5 million. So this is already not working out right, but let's just carry on anyway. Plus, let's just say $4 million for the lot. Being conservative equals. That's $7 million per unit. Okay. So it's $7 $7 million too for the lot and the improvements on the lot. Times there's 40 of them. $288 million. So, because I was so crazy conservative on the value of the improvements, it's probably $600 a square foot. Anyway, so it's, just if you tore it all apart and built a little subdivision in there, it's worth $300 million. Each of those houses on the island of Palm Beach sell between 14 and 30 million a piece, depending on whether you're waterfront or not. Half these lots are on the water, either intercoastal water or ocean water. I'd rather be on the intercoastal side, actually, because, at nighttime when the sun goes down, the ocean is dark. So it's like this big black sea out there, and every once in a while you'll see some, the lights on some kind of a boat that, floats down in front of you, one way or the other. But, the intercoastal waterway, you're on water, so to speak. So if you had a boat, you could have your own little dock. If you didn't want a boat, that's fine. But, you can ride up and down, the intercoastal waterway is like thousands of miles. Go down 60 miles down to, South Miami. And then, you go another 1,500 miles north, 1,200 miles. So you can go a long way up and down the intercoastal waterway and see a lot of stuff, You don't have to make it a 3-day journey. You could just go, a couple of hours north, a couple of hours south would take you almost down to Miami, a couple of hours north would take you up around, south of Orlando. And there's all kinds of things to see. So if you got a house on the intercoastal, there could be a lot of boat traffic, in front of your upper balconies that are going to overlook this waterfront situation. So just imagine that in this big palace. I don't know what else to call it. It has 3 stories above ground and one story below ground, which us northern people call a basement. But in a thing like this, it's all finished off, in very high quality. Since it's below ground, all the concrete walls that are the 12-foot high concrete barriers, and the concrete floor, it's all sealed up. You got 7,000 PSI, 7,000 PSI concrete, which is a real strong concrete. That means that the breaking point of this concrete, which would require in excess of 7,000 pound per square inch, pinching device. So you do that so the concrete doesn't crack with the pressures from the the sidewalls and the pressures from below. You pour those walls, 8 inches thick, 10 inches thick, all the way around, 10 or 12 inches thick to the floor. Yeah, you really make it like a fortress for the subterranean. And then, on top of that, you build an incredible structure, And that's what Mar-a-Lago is. It's just a, I think it's like 45,000 square feet. Oh boy, let's just do this. 45 times $1,000 a square foot equals. Oh, come on. 45,000 times 1,000 equals. Yeah, it cost you $45 million to build Mar-a-Lago. I use $1,000 a square foot because of all the ornamental. It's gold everywhere. Gold plated this, gold plated that. Yeah. So I used $1,000 a square foot. So you got a $45 million building sitting on, 300 million, 200 million, 100 million. Let's say 100 million for the site. It's remember a 1 acre lot on the island of Palm Beach cost you $15 million. Okay, today. This is 45 acres. So, that whole thing has got to be 800. Yes, it's crowding, $1 billion. The New York City judge said it's worth $18 million. He missed that by a factor of 100. They were saying that Trump overstated his financial statement because he had the value of Mar-a-Lago set at $300 million or something like that. And today he'd put $1 billion on there. Just remember, these trials took several years. But there's really no lots left on the island of Palm Beach. So, everything jumps up in price, 200%. Because there's nothing left. And the only way you can get a house is if someone is selling. There's no inventory of lots. It's a island that holds, several thousand residences. That's it. I don't even know the number. Siri, how many houses on the island of Palm Beach, Florida? Okay. There are roughly 2,500 homes in Palm Beach. They house 48 billionaires. Yeah. Unbelievable. So you got the world's richest people. Well, this article says there's 58, there are at least 58 billionaires that have residential ties in Palm Beach. So you got mega wealthy people, you know. Now, of course, the Mar-a-Lago estate, which Trump bought for about $10 million 20 years ago, because the state of Florida, who ended up with it because the last survivor of the C.W. Post estate, the last survivor, can you imagine? She had no one to give it to. And, she didn't want to give it to some guy or girl. Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. So this is something you give. So she gave it to the state of Florida. When I die, the state of Florida gets Mar-a-Lago. $100 million estate 25 years ago. So they auctioned it off, and they had people bidding on it from all over the planet. And Trump kept on bidding. I think the bidding started at $5 million, and the bidding, got to $10 million, and Trump was the going once, going twice, going 3 times. Mr. Trump, you got it. This is 20 years before he was any kind of a political figure. So, and the reason why the state of Florida got rid of it is because it cost roughly $1 million just to do the exterior landscaping. Like cutting the grass, edging the grass, cutting all the bushes, keeping them in the proper shape, and making sure that the seawalls are right, and any kind of, or just the landscaping. Cost the state of Florida $1 million a year. They said, "Oh crap, we don't have it in our budget to spend $1 million a year on an estate." So they were letting people. It was like a tour. You could buy a $10 ticket, and they'd take you all through it. A guided tour. A guide would lead, let's say, 10 of you, and they'd walk all over Mar-a-Lago, and you could see what it looks like inside out. Maybe that ticket cost $10 or $20 for the guided tour, and they couldn't come anywhere near, because you had to pay the guys, So when you do all the math, it costs them $1 million a year to landscape the place. Just to, trim and cut the grass, and trim all the bushes and the trees and everything to keep them in the proper shape. The state of Florida said, "No, we're out of here." So they auctioned it off. And Trump was the largest and final bidder, and it got bid up to $10 million. And Trump was the final bidder 20 years ago. So That's how he got his hands on Mar-a-Lago. So it's owned by him personally. He considers that his winter residence. I mean, he's got potential dwelling units all over the planet because they have these clubhouses. He owns, I think, 11 golf courses, which have been all upgraded to Trump requirements. You know, he's a luxury builder. You know, he builds office buildings. You know, he builds all kinds of things. So, when you have that kind of a reputation, you know, you got to do a good job. So, that's what he's doing. And he has converted, you know, these 11 golf courses into the most spectacular golf courses. You know, every blade of grass is trimmed. You know, there's not a cigarette butt laying around on the fairways or in the sand traps. You know, some people smoke the cigarettes when they're outdoors and just flick it. You know, and then the butt goes, you know, in the grass in the fairway or in a sand trap. You know, where some of these people will flick their cigarette in a sand trap. Well, the Trump maintenance crews that float around, you know, that are in charge of keeping these golf courses and the, you know, associated grounds and buildings and, you know, the what you would call it, the starter building, you know, the building that houses all the shirts and pants, you know, for, you know, that are logoed material, you know, $100 a shirt, you know, $200 for pants, you know, $50 belt. So you flew in from out of town into one of these places, you could, you know, dress yourself up. I mean, it costs you a bundle, but if you're playing on a Trump golf course, you're not worried about whether the shirt, you know, is $100 or $75. Yeah, you know, shirt costs you $100, logoed material. You know, you don't want to pay for it, then fine. But, you know, you have you know, the golf building where you house all this logoed materials, you know, like pants and shirts and belts and gloves, you know, golf gloves. You know, you can buy golf tees, logoed golf balls. You have all this stuff. And it also houses, you know, a front desk, so to speak, where the golfer may, you know, they go up to the desk where they see, you know, that your tee time, you know, is 10 o'clock in the morning, whatever. So you make your tee time with a phone call, and then you check in 9:30 and confirm that you're off the front tee at 10 a.m., Mr. Wilson. The course is ready for you at 10 a.m. They probably separate people by 15 minutes per foursome. So, you know, you got the people that tee off at 9:45. So 4 of them tee off at 9:45. And so that when you're ready to tee off, those 4 people should have already hit their second shot, so they are not in harm's way on the fairway. If you stack them up too tight, meaning we had them teeing off at every 10 minutes, that's not enough time. With twosome, we go every 10 minutes. You got to bring that up to like 15 minutes. So, you have 4 tee times per hour. So that's how many people can be on a course. Now, some of these courses are big, where they have 2 courses. So you don't want to, you got the ocean course and the coastal waterway course. I'm making this up. A typical golf course takes, with the peripheral grounds to, house nice buildings. You gotta have a big building to house all the, a secure building. You have to have proper power requirements so you can charge, a couple hundred golf carts. The golf cart. Yeah. 2 people per cart. So you need 2 carts with a foursome. So you need 100 carts. You need the power so you can charge 100 carts. And those golf carts are 10,000 a piece, round numbers. Good ones. So you got the cart house. You got the the building that houses all the maintenance equipment. All the lawnmowers and the edge trimmers and the blowers, that are out there blowing, that cut grass off the concrete pathways. And and blowing it off the fine gravel, we have gravel pathways. Anyway, it takes about, for a really good, situation, it's 200 acres. I financed, some projects where the golf course was on like 120 acres. That's pretty tight, That means you're butting right up against, the houses. If the golf course is surrounded with houses. Sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't, depending on how far out in the boonies the golf course is. But for you to, build a golf course, I would want the property at least 200 acres. So you have, a lot of feet between the golf course and the neighbors that live adjacent to the golf course. With a 200 acre property, you got lots of room. Now you cut that grass, you trim it all up, you plant all kinds of things. So, it's not like a big empty lot and you're looking straight into all the houses. You gotta plant things that grow tall and plant things that grow wide, There's all kinds of specific there are people that know how to design a golf course. I mean, I can do it. We financed a few of them. You know how to do it. And you can pencil in, what it's going to cost. Now, you might hire some professionals that'll break down, pricing on how much it's going to cost to, then you have to, then you got to hire a named golfer. Really a good named golfer, like a Jack Nicklaus designed course. And he helps you design it. You look at it and say, I really rather have the hole, going this way instead of that way. So he goes through a number of different, design features. You want to make the course difficult to play, or easy to play, or in the middle. And Trump would say, make it a little bit on the difficult side. Not the most difficult. But, let's challenge these golfers. We're going to make it a beautiful, tough course. A par 72. There's par 36 on each side. Make it a 7,500 yard course. You can throw numbers out like that. And then, you put the dimensions of the site, in a CAD, computer-aided design program. And you put, so you put the boundaries of the site in the CAD program. And then you start putting in your features. Like this is the golf clubhouse. Maybe the golf clubhouse is being designed so that, if you have, if you're in an area where you have, a lot of residents that can get there easily, you may want a restaurant in there that can, serve a couple hundred people. Well, is it 100 people? Is it 200 people? Yeah. And you got to buy the tables and the chairs and the silverware and the glassware. You got to have places to store all that stuff. Then you got to design the kitchen. So you got to get a chef, on your team to say, okay, I'd pick someone like Burt Rappaport, who owns, he's owned 50 properties, restaurant properties, probably in his lifetime. He's just, in his 70s, late 70s, I would say. He's retired, but he knows, so you hire him to help you design the clubhouse, the egress, ingress for people, and, where would you position it in the golf course? You'd have it in the interior, in my opinion. So, you got a gate, you got a gatehouse, you got to man the gatehouse, 24/7. So, when you add all that up, the gate security, you got some security officers floating around, a 200-acre property. He would ride in a golf cart and ride the entire perimeter of the property, 3 or 4 times a day, so that, no one climbing over the fences. Down here, Trump outlines his properties with, royal palms. And the trunks get to 18 inches in diameter. So depending on, and you could plant them, a big tree every 3 feet, which becomes a huge palm tree, after 20 years of ownership. But see, you buy big ones. You put it all the way around the property. These big palms. That's what he did with one of the ones he bought here in Dade County. He surrounded the entire site with royal palms. And they're really, every 3 feet, you got another tree trunk. And the tree trunks grow, But it creates quite a barrier. Yeah. And you do other landscaping. You plant ficus hedge or cocoa plum hedges. Both hedges. I know a ficus hedge, if you keep that trimmed, to 10 feet tall, 14 foot tall. I had 14 foot tall ficus hedge all the way around my house. I lived in a neighborhood where every property has to be secured with a ficus hedge all the way around. And the ficus hedge, each stalk of the ficus hedge, it might have a tree trunk, that's this big around. It's 4 or 5 inch. Used to be little twigs, the diameter of this thing. Well, after they grow for 10 years or so, the ficus hedge, properly trimmed ficus hedge, which is probably 2.5 foot, 3 foot thick, goes straight up, go up the top. So they plant them every 3 feet. They grow to be quite a dense, you couldn't drive a car through it. If you sped it, you got up to as fast as you possibly could. You couldn't drive through it with a car or a truck. I don't know if you could get a garbage truck as big and as heavy as that to, just crash right through it. That's a question mark. It probably could. But a regular car, I think it'd get pretty severely dented before you'd actually get, back up and then crash into it again. You do that 4 or 5 times. You'd wreck the entire front of your car, So, the Trump cabinet confirmation process is ramping up. And, that's breaking news from one of the networks. Pete Hegseth, which is, a tough one to confirm because he, had a different he's supposed to, today. It was projected that Pete Hegseth would be, put in front of, the Senate today. This is Thursday. Yep. you got to have the Secretary of Defense, seated. It's a very, you're in the top 7 or 8 people in the line of succession to the presidency. If something disastrous would happen in the United States, and 6 of the people in line were killed by some means, then the Secretary of Defense is in the line of succession. And, Secretary of Labor, all your cabinet people are in line. Let's see if I can type that on here. Oops. Line.
It's 10:45.
Line of succession to President of USA. Let's see how that works. I'm doing it up on this auxiliary iPad because I don't have a keyboard for this one. Yeah. And my MacBook, which has a keyboard, is operating. All right, what's going on here? I don't know what that is. I got some weird result. Come on, Google. Oh, here we go. Wikipedia. There we go. So there are 18 of them. That's quite a list. So let's see the photo. So you got the president, and the next in line is the vice president. Then it goes to the Speaker of the House, and then there's like a majority leader of the Senate, if you will. That's behind the vice. The vice president is the president of the Senate. The vice president of the United States under Trump is also the president of the Senate. And like the vice president of the Senate, that's called the president pro tempore of the Senate. President pro temp. Then you have the Secretary of State, which, that's Rubio. So far, these are all people that are in there. So Secretary of State is 4th in line. Then you got the Secretary of the Treasury, and then you got Secretary of Defense. That'd be the top 6 Attorney General would be right behind the Secretary of Defense. Then you got, Secretary of the Interior, Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Labor, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, Secretary of Transportation, Secretary of Energy, Secretary of Education, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Secretary of Homeland Security is the last on the list. I think that would be a more important person. In Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5 of the Constitution sets 3 requirements to be president. Yep. You got the 12th Amendment, the 20th Amendment, the 25th Amendment. You got a lot of amendments where a president could be taken out of office because he's incompetent. Say something happens. And the vice president fills that vacancy. It's never been, 25th Amendment hasn't been triggered, but it was thought of for Biden. But the vice president is the one that has to start the process and to get a majority of the cabinet members to go along with that. To take someone out of office and put the vice president in his place. Yeah. So that's the line of succession. I've presidential order of succession is set because it's part of the Presidential Succession Act of 1947, as amended, whatever that means. Each department, so that's a pretty serious, let's see if that's come over here so you can see. There we go. Remember, I take screenshots. Now it's on your screen. You can see it. Let's make it full screen. There you go. Now you can see it better. So the one that's the top 4 that are shaded in black. So Chuck Grassley is the president pro tem. Then you got Mike Johnson, and you got J.D. Vance. So if something would happen to Trump, you got President Vance. That'd be tricky. He was only a senator for 2 years. But I think I have a hunch that was his first government job. He became a senator. Before that, Yeah, he served in the military, I believe. He went to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, whatever. I forget his academic background. But he's a smart one. But he came out of the mud of Appalachia, So they got to go down through this list and fill up the positions. You got Secretary of the Treasury. We have someone that's been nominated for these. Secretary of Defense is Pete Hegseth. He'd be sixth in line. And our Lady Attorney General, Bondi, right? Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. She's seventh in line to the presidency. Pamela Bondi, Secretary of the Interior. We know who that is. Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Labor. I'm trying to think of Zeldin, what he was nominated for. I guess we could modify our search with our named appointments. I'll do that when I get off the air, so I don't have to figure out how to make that available for. Maybe if I page down in the article. Let me just look in the search that I did. Okay, let's keep going down here. See if they have another list. Wow. There were 9 different times that they had to invoke the presidential succession. And looks like the Republicans have been the leading candidates that get shot or something. Yeah, well. I remember Trump saying, the President of the United States is a pretty dangerous job to have. Yes, 20% of them get killed. Or so, he had some number. It was really pretty shocking the way he characterized it. Yeah, well. Here you go, these footnotes. Well, all right, we just need to do a different search. Okay. Oops. List in order of presidential succession. Trump's appointments. I think we need to 2025 appointments. We don't want to get his first term, because then you're going back 10 years. We want to see the second term. Let me go. Let's hit the go sign. No results. Well, in that case, select all, copy this, then get out of here and paste it here and do a new search. There we go. There we go. Here's a U.S. President nominations. Oh, come on. This is the wrong president. They tricked me. I'm reading this Google results to see if I can get the U.S. The presidential succession and listing all the nominees, the appointments that have been made so far. So there are appointments by name. And then, of course, the appointments have to be confirmed. So I only got 4 so far with Rubio in there. Yeah. So here's by. Yeah. You got 18 positions. You know, the Secretary of Homeland Security is on the bottom. But you got President, you know, you got Vice President, Speaker of the House, and it goes back over the President Pro Tem in the Senate. That's the 3 line of succession. And the 4th is Rubio, Secretary of State. And then you got the Secretary of Treasury and Secretary of Defense. Yeah. See how about this all filled in with the actual people that are been appointed. Because he's appointed, I think, all the positions. And it's just that Rubio is the only one that's been confirmed so far. And the first, the Senate is supposedly working on somebody. Got some videos here. Let's touch this one. That's the list of the 18 positions. Let's print screen this one. So the Secretary of State, he's a serious guy, because he's fourth in line in the presidential succession. And then the Secretary of the Treasury is next, below Rubio. And then the Secretary of Defense, which would be Hegseth, he's sixth in line. Then the Attorney General. Then you do, Interior, Agriculture. I forget who these guys are. Could write them in. Anyway, let's do that. Save that to the photos. Yeah. Oh, here's another list with the names written in. Yeah. There we go. So we have all the positions with the names written in. Christy Nome is the 18th in line of succession. Lord help us if we have to go that far into the... Phew. Okay. So we got that solved. So I should get one more image popping up here, so you can see who they are, and we'll check them off as they get confirmed. Yeah. But I think the majority leader in the Senate is going to start kicking ass to get this moving. And he'll keep the Senate chambers open, late at night and on weekends. He'll make the senators suffer if they want to delay the Trump having his cabinet. And it's all, this fancy delay tactics, which, so much for the opposition party working with the president. No, it's like a war between the two factions. Yeah. Maybe I have to leave this open. There's two more spots. prices went through the roof under Biden. Yeah. In the grocery store, they doubled. That's a pretty big price increase. Butter used to be $4 a pound. Now it's over $8. You know. Now, a lot of grocery stores, have milk on there as a loss leader. So they lose money with milk and the rotisserie chicken. Publix finally gave up the ghost and is trying to keep up with with Costco. Because Costco is still making very nice, plump rotisserie chickens for like $5 a piece. I mean, which is like or $4.99, $5. And they've kept the prices there all through this inflationary period. It's been $5 a piece forever. So some people go there just to get the chicken and then walk through and pick off a couple of other things. The problem I have with Costco, and I can actually do an Instacart at Costco. I wonder how they do that with your membership fees and all that crap. I'll have to look that up because I'm sure I'm due for a renewal fee for my single card. Yeah. So that cost, $100 for that to be renewed. Or $75 for the El Cheapo one. So you probably have to have that number. And then it'll probably add the renewal fee to your, so I can order a chicken and a few other things. And I get whacked for $85 or $90 for the renewal fee. Well, favorites. No, it's a screenshot. Let's see. Screenshot. I'm looking for the most recent screenshot. That should be the top. Yeah, that should pop up in here at the top. It should be right next to this one. All right. So we'll see. You'll see it tomorrow. It updates it eventually. So every device, the iPhone, this iPad, this iPad, 1, 2, 3, and the phone is 4, and the computer has 5. And I have an iPad Pro in the kitchen, which is showing a clock. Yeah. These are all my old devices. I can't give them up. Something I paid $1,500 for, I'm going to turn it in for $150. I don't think so. I can see a half price sale. If I paid $1,800, they'll give me $900. And I've done that. I've had a couple of $1,800 iPad Pros that I've turned in. I sold it to, this Mac me an offer instead of make me an offer. They actually have a website They're located in Tampa, Florida. And I've sold, 4 or 5 devices to them. A couple Apple Watches, a couple of MacBooks, and 1 or 2, probably 2, iPads. So they give you something reasonable to what you paid for it, and then they, clean them up. Of course, I send them, 9 times out of 10, I send them in the box that they were packaged in when I bought it, and which I'm sure they retain those boxes. And I make sure not to scribble all over them, keep care of the box as well as I keep care of the electronic device. But I clean them up like they're brand new, but they do it, they inspect it, they make sure it's, what they, that the memory is as I claimed it is. The memory is printed on the box, and it's not printed anywhere on the iPad. There was a time where I would have that information engraved on, free engraving. So I wouldn't put my name on it. I would put, the memory upgrade and the storage upgrade. I'd put it right, I'd engrave it instead of having a first and last name. Yeah. And then when you look at the back of the iPad, you can see how it's configured. Cellular, AT&T cellular. Yep. All right, folks. I think I've said everything that needs to be said. And we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll try and kick this off early at 9 o'clock so you can get on with your day. Epidemic Instrumental. It's a 3-hour, continuous 3 hours of the kind of things that you're hearing right now. It's really quite nice. So when Jimmy takes a breath or he's looking something up, at least you hear something in the background, right? Turn it up a little. There we go. No, it's not peaking out. It's not an overkill on volume. All right. You all have a good day and see you tomorrow I'm going to really try as hard as I can to get on the air at 9 o'clock. Maryland's out of here by 8, so there's no reason why it shouldn't happen. So I'm going to try to make sure. Thursday the 23rd. It's 11:18 a.m. now. I've been on the air an hour and 42 minutes. Yep. I lost Twitter for some reason. It's a signal, it's a stream. And all the areas of the stream don't operate at the same speed. Well, if the stream gets a little flaky, one or more of these simulcast channels, like YouTube Live. I love YouTube. When Marilyn goes to bed, I go to the YouTube channel on my Samsung in the living room on the big screen and watch, all the stuff on there. It's really quite interesting. If you have a YouTube account, consider upgrading it to, their higher level. I have to be on the higher level because that's the only way. You have to be a higher level member in order to broadcast video streaming into their network. Which, in theory, it's a permanent, it's permanently in there. So my kids or grandkids, could go back through time. I've been doing this for, God. I'll have to look up what my first one is. It's got to be 3 or 4 years. Yeah. I figured, what the hell, I'm gonna get out there and say things, and maybe after I'm dead, people will start paying attention to me. Yes, sir. I'll make a suggestion to Marilyn, so she would make remarks to the family when I have passed. You only stay on this planet so long. I'm susceptible to get, these colds, common colds. I get them all the time. But if it gets real bad, get a hold of the doctor and get me some, have a telemed call or something. I don't like going into the office unless I have to. On the 30th of this month, next week, I guess Thursday of next week, I have a doctor's appointment. It was earlier in the month and I had to postpone it because I was too damn sick. I don't like to go in there when I'm sick, because that's not fair to everybody else, right? Yeah. So, guess I have to. All right, so you all have a great day, and I'm going to go to the YouTube channel and make sure my broadcast got up there. Every once in a while I listen to the whole program over again, just to see how I sound, see if I'm loud enough, am I fading in and out, whatever. Anyway, so goodbye, have a nice day, see you tomorrow.